Thanks, Eddie.
Thanks,
Always
Eddie.
good to be here.
I think we're at like 390. I'll have to look. But yeah, we're somewhere in the 390s, I think, on shows. So
we're glad to be back. We were out of town last
Yep.
week at the National Convention for Keller Williams, and it was in Orlando, Florida.
This is show 397.
Okay, there we go.
300 or three more to get our 400th. Okay, sorry. Yes.
Well,
So we were in Orlando, talked to 1,001 real estate agents. Okay, more than that.
Well, there was about 15,000 agents there
Yeah.
at the Orlando Convention Center, so we missed being on the radio last week.
Yep.
And quite the interesting experience being in Orlando. You know, everybody goes, "Oh, you went to Florida," and we're like, we were inside a convention center
Yeah.
for 4 days. Yeah, and
Well,
it was awesome. You know,
Anybody that's ever been to the Orlando Convention Center, they know that place is just like, it's massive.
Monstrous.
Like it's this huge like complex or multiple complexes, right? It's like the Las Vegas Convention Center.
Right.
Anyway, it was good. It was good to actually be back and be
Present.
together with a bunch of people, like in person without masks on.
So, Tego,
yeah.
you told me to make sure to prep for this and say, you know, what were your takeaways from our
I have got
being
a few.
at the national convention? I know we're going to get to those. So mine was, it seemed like the whole convention was kind of geared around being together and being a community and reconnecting and remembering our core values and what an impact real estate has on the world, on people, on their wealth, on their families, on their comfort. And kind of just, I think the being together thing was just reminding us all that it's all important, everything we do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it was interesting because, you know, I'm sure people would think, you know, if they go to an event like this, you'd think, okay, it's all about sales and sell more houses and all this. And it really was not the theme at all. The theme was...
Well, it never usually is.
No,
but
it never really is. It's really about educating and how to, you know, take better care of our clients.
or market data, which we know that the Statomatic keeps us all really smart with stats. But a lot of people get most of their data through going to this, you know.
It was
convention.
interesting because, you know, there's this big, long presentation that goes through the state of the housing market in the United States. And you know, most of the stuff I was like, yep. But it was good. There was a few things that jumped out at me. And we're going to jump into that. One of the things I wanted to talk about today was some of the new construction and what's going on in new construction. And so, you know, if you've been... Gosh, I guess unless you've been under a rock, you know that the housing market has some issues from a supply demand standpoint, right?
How many people live under a rock, Tego?
I don't know.
Why do we say that? Right?
It's just an expression.
Unless you've been under a rock.
I don't know what it means.
So housing. So we've talked about it on this show for 2 years.
Right.
So all of our listeners, they know what we heard at the convention. But you have new stats about housing and what's why we're behind on housing units and how many and what's in the pipeline.
So first off, let's talk a little bit about just what's going on here in Albuquerque and then a little bit more nationally. But here in Albuquerque, we've got the latest data from FHFA, which is the group that oversees Fannie and Freddie that buy most of the mortgages, right? So they're very curious. You know, the thing that was interesting when they look at the top 200 metropolitan areas in the United States, Albuquerque obviously is one of those, or maybe it's the top 100. But the thing that jumped out at me was, you know, there's been a lot of consternation about the Albuquerque market and how home prices have just gone up so much and it's unaffordable. And not that this is a good thing, but it just is our market appreciation is actually less than most markets,
right?
Many markets, especially in the Sun Belt, right? And then so this is the top 100 markets in the country, not 200. I said 200. Top 100 market. Albuquerque ranks 42 for appreciation in the last year. FHFA says Albuquerque home prices grew by 17% in 2021.
In 1 year.
In 1 year, which is a lot, but it's not, you know, Round Rock, Austin Round Rock, which is 30%.
Or Cape Coral, Fort Myers, Florida, 35%.
Phoenix Mesa Chandler, which we're all very familiar with. I mean,
29%.
You know, it's always funny when you talk to people that, they're from the East Coast and they really don't know the West that well. And, you say, oh, yeah, we're in Albuquerque. And they go, oh, yeah, I visited Phoenix once. It's like, well,
we heard that a lot at convention.
Yeah, that's not us.
It's either I visited Phoenix once or I drove through Albuquerque once.
Exactly.
Right? Through the freeway.
Yeah, we hear that. We hear that.
It's beautiful. I drove through the freeway
Or
once.
Breaking Bad, of course. You hear that too.
Yeah.
I guess the point there is, yes, home price appreciation is just gone nutty. However, we're not as nutty as some markets.
We're half as much as those top markets, right? So much better, and still one of the most affordable cities in the South and Southwest.
And I'm not saying this, but I'm going to say this way, that you could make the argument that Albuquerque has a lot more room to run for price appreciation than other markets. Now, I didn't say that. I'm just saying you could say that.
Okay, there you go. He could say that.
You could say that.
So do you have more stats, FHFA, anything?
Yeah. And the other thing that I just, looking at the first couple weeks of the weeks of the month, or basically
beginning of the year,
first couple months here, since we're toward the end of February already, and we've hit another all-time low in the number of homes on the market in the greater Albuquerque area. It's under 600. It fluctuates right around 600. I think we dipped down as many as 560 homes in Metro Albuquerque this week, which is just that is such an extraordinarily low number of homes on the market. It's kind of hard to put an adjective on that. The thing I noticed though here in the first few weeks of the year is that every week, every day, we have more homes coming off the market than are going on the market. So we keep having a deficit week after week after week. And so not unusual for this time of year to see that trend. We are hoping very soon people start thinking, okay, we're getting early spring here, maybe time to start thinking about getting your home on the market. I will tell you, if you're thinking about selling, obviously give us a call, but probably the earlier the better. There's lots of buyers out there. And we know there's lots of buyers out there waiting for homes to come on the market. And as far as we've seen, Tracy, interest rates really, even that big run up in interest rates doesn't seem to have pushed a whole lot of people out of the market.
Right. And we have a great selling program to help our sellers maximize their home, get it ready. We can hold your hand through anything you need. We've got a lot of resources, so we can put our program to work for you and help you get that home sold how it works best for you.
Any stats or anything else out of the convention in Orlando that jumped out at you? National convention, thousands of real estate agents from all over the country.
I don't think any stats that you haven't already talked about on our show before. Some of it was, the housing starts and how many millions of houses were behind in, housing for people.
Did you set that up on purpose?
Yeah,
just like that?
I did.
So I want to segue into a little bit different topic, which is, we start talking about this housing shortage, right? We're short so many homes in this country, and people are like, well, why? What's going on? Well, why don't we just build more? Why don't we just build more, right? And so I wanted to go into some of the stuff that's going on, some of the trends in the new construction, as well as some of the opportunities, as well as some of the down, let's just say
the hard parts,
the problems, right? I was going to say, I didn't want to use the word problems, but it kind of is. I've heard different analysts that specialize in the housing world talk about the number of homes we are short in this country. I've heard, what did I say the other day? The woman, the chief economist from Realtor.com, I think she said 5.8 million homes short in this country, and that's been building and building and building that shortage over the last 10 years. One of the charts we saw at the convention, Tracy, was showing how many homes are built year over year. Obviously we had that huge spike up until 2008, and then it just dropped away to nothing. And so what's happened now, home construction is just fallen behind the household formation, which is the thing that a couple of interesting stats. So I saw on that, Tracy, was one is that there are less people per household than there used to be, which also makes it that we need more houses. that make sense?
Sure.
Another thing I saw was homes are getting bigger. So this was a trend I hadn't really thought was a thing. So here's the chart, Tracy. And so it after 2009, when basically the faucet just got turned off on new construction, right? Homes had peaked out somewhere just over 2,500 square feet on average, right?
Big.
Yeah, and then dropped down below 2,400 square feet. And then what's interesting is it started to peak back up all the way through till 2015. But you think about that, those were people, most of that construction from about 2012 to about 2015 were custom homes because there wasn't a lot of big production starter home communities going on. Most of that building was custom homes.
Or smaller builders, maybe.
Yeah. And then we saw, so that trended up almost over 2,600 square feet, came back down, but now just in the last year, homes are getting larger again.
So more in that 2,500. They dropped down to like 2350.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah. So but now they've started to go up, and it makes sense. You think about the pandemic and the work from home and all that,
extra
right?
space for being at home more and working from home, for sure.
Yeah,
that one extra room, that could be 12 by 12,
I mean, builders are going to build what the product that people want, and what people want right now is a home office.
And
right.
We've seen that in floor plan adaptations from the new home builders in our market.
And what about the multi-generational too? Is that's still going, right?
It is still going. So multi-gen, where there's like an extra casita within the house, maybe a private door, a sitting room, a bedroom, and a little kitchenette, sort of separate from the rest of the house, but still a part of the house. We're still seeing that. It's still a thing, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
No, it is.
It's a great floor plan. Some of them that I've seen are really nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely no doubt that the pandemic, the way we live in our homes, the way we use our homes changed everything forever, let's say. Well, until it changes again.
Yeah. Which happens.
I love saying stuff like that. Okay, so the other thing with new construction is obviously prices. NHAB, the National Home Builder Association, they say the average new home in the United States went up $36,000 in 2021.
And I'm sure it did.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah. You think about labor costs as well as material costs and material delays, and the cost of money while they're building it, just takes a lot longer right now.
Yeah.
We know a lot of people we have working with us, and we thank all our home buyers that are waiting for their house to be built. And it's exciting and it's fun, but it's taking longer. We have folks that have put a house under contract last fall that are hoping to be in by like June.
So yeah, I mean, so let's, just some of the challenges with new construction, and the reason we're not just build, baby, build, right? We're trying, the builders are trying to do as much as they can, but there's a lot of challenges. Obviously, supply chain issues, right? We've all heard about the supply chain issues. We're not going to beat that up. But, we hear stories about garage doors taking 6 months.
It's always different. Every month you talk to a builder, Tego. This month it's windows. Last month it was garage doors. Now it's AC units or.
I talked to Richard Medina from Fellowship Homes the other day, and he said black windows, that used to be, it's kind of a design trend, or black frame windows, 18 months to get black windows.
I guess so that's not going to be the trend.
That's not going to be the trend.
Yeah.
Not going to be doing black windows this year. So that's one of the things they're having to do, is kind of change some of their design ideas, to
adapt to what we can get.
Appliances have been a challenge. So, the supply chain issues definitely are there. They're better, but they're still there for the builders. The other one, like you said, was labor, right? Just not as many.
Well, and the cost of labor too, because now to get that labor to your job site instead of someone else's, you're competing a little more.
Yeah. So we went to that talk from the economist from Wells Fargo a few weeks ago that Fidelity Title put together. And he was talking, it's an interesting stat because it says there are more homes under construction in the United States since 2006 or something like that at the peak of the boom. And you hear that at first glance, you go, uh-oh, here we go again. We're going to overbuild. We're going to have too many homes. the problem, the thing is that they're just taking longer, so much longer to build now.
To get the permit, to get the land subdivided,
Yeah.
to get the infrastructure in. Yeah, everything's taking longer, not just build time.
And that's one of the other big challenges here is just getting buildable lots ready to go. The timeline takes a long time. So
But
all indication is that demand for new construction is going to stay there. It's going to cost more for new construction. There's no sign that it's going to, prices are going to go back down because the demand is still there.
however, we have a lot of neighborhoods that have come on the market in the last couple of months by a lot of big builders here. So we have homes in the pipeline. So if you're thinking of getting a newly constructed home, call us and we can tell you where those neighborhoods are. Because a lot of times, you go drive around and you stop at one builder, but you might not know that a half mile the other direction there's another home builder that you can consider. So we know right now that in Los Lunas, there's several new communities with homes under construction. Albuquerque's west side, even Volterra near the Air Force Base, Rio Rancho. There's some other infill projects around the city. So give us a call. We'd be happy to help you with your new construction. A lot of people think that they can't use a realtor for new construction, but of course you can. So this is Tego and Tracy Venturi with the Albuquerque Real Estate Talk. And it's easiest if you call us at 448-8888. That's a pretty easy number, 448-8888. And we can find out how we can best help you with your real estate needs. Next.
Yeah, so one thing I wanted to talk about was the real estate community and some of the advocacy work that we do. So the National Association of Realtors, the New Mexico Association, Realtor Association, the local Greater Albuquerque Association of Realtors. One of the things that we do is a lot of advocacy work, meaning lobbying, right, for things that have to do with housing and property rights for people. Obviously, we just ended the short session here in Santa Fe, and I want to pull this up here. And there were a few bills that were, let's just say, a little could have been pretty challenging for people that own real estate. Let's just put it that way. The short of it is, the ones that were really pretty heavy-handed for property owners got defeated. There was one related to, they called it housing modernization bill, but it really had to do with tenant rights and landlord,
It placed a lot of liability on landlords and really could harm mom and pop landlords. I think in a lot of places, people think the landlords are these big corporations that have so much money and stuff, when in fact it's mom and pop down the street who have the house they grew up in or they bought as their first home that they now have rented out. And that's who that bill would have really hurt.
Yeah, it really would have. And the short of it was it gave tenants basically a lot more time to be able to stay in a home without paying for it or a rental of any kind. And so that one got defeated. And I mean, tenant rights and all that. There's some great stuff for tenant rights, and tenants deserve rights and all that, and people shouldn't be taken advantage of. And they should focus on that, not just doing this blanket sweeping thing that makes it harder for everybody.
Right.
The other big one that they were was a transfer tax. That one. Thank goodness, didn't go anywhere. Basically, it was going to be an additional tax on the sale of real estate. And so that one didn't get anywhere. There was one other one that was, it was actually part of the crime bill, and it had to do with crime theft and like chop shop and stuff, or copper theft. So, one of the problems, anybody that's been in construction knows this, is, people could go and steal copper out of a house or pipes or wiring, and then they go and sell it on at like chop shops that do it. So anyway, they tightened that up, which again, that helps construction as well as the real estate community. So I just wanted to say, anybody is interested in these things, and just know that the realtor associations are out there fighting for home ownership rights.
Right.
Tracy, where do you think this year is going to go for real estate? I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Wow, I didn't know that was on the agenda. So you're talking about home price appreciation or depreciation?
All of the above.
So I think that this year is we're going to continue to see home prices rise. Mm-hmm. Interest rates, I wish I knew based on the Ukraine situation and Russia how that will affect it, but I think it might keep interest rates from going up maybe as high as they had intended this year. Yeah, might put a damper on some of that.
There's been a lot of conversation now, is this going to slow down the economy, which would in turn make the Fed not raise interest, the prime rate as much, which again trickles down into eventually to mortgage rates.
I think that houses are going to continue to be scarce. It's going to continue to be a seller's market. There are lots of financing options for buyers, lots of great plans available for home buyers that they can take advantage of. And if they have decent credit, I think that it's fair and good. And
well, it's that old question: when's the best time to buy a home?
5 years ago.
Right. When's the second best time?
Today.
Yeah.
So I think, that it's still a good time to buy a house. I know we're always looking and, over the long run, if you're going to hold it for a while, it's a good time to buy a house. So that's what I think
from a financial standpoint.
From a financial standpoint, yeah. Especially if you want a primary residence. If you need to live somewhere, our houses are still more affordable with interest rate increases than renting. And you get to choose your house. You get to make it your own. You get to plant the garden. You get to paint the walls. You get to enjoy it and live in it and know it's yours and make it your own.
It's all those other reasons than just the financial. Most people, most of their nest egg is in their home.
Right.
Most people, and that own a home, and what's been happening, I listened to a podcast of these big brain guys, talking about the economy overall, and they were just saying, people that own homes right now are in a really good position.
Right.
That's not me saying that. These are, quote, the experts, right? And there's just nobody out there saying that home prices are going to crash.
Right. The other thing that I think we're going to see this year, because we've already started to see it a little bit, is property management. Mom and pops and smaller holders of property are going to sell and take advantage of the market and move their money somewhere else and just take advantage, because we've had some people who own 3-4 rentals calling us saying, I'm ready to take advantage of this market and sell those properties. And I think we're going to see more of that in the coming months.
Yeah, honestly, I'm going to say I hope so, because it would be nice to get that freed up. Of course, now that takes it off the rental pool market.
Right.
Right. So it's just like, well, okay, we help people that want to buy, but now we're removing inventory from the rental market.
We may be, but we know some of the buyers are also buying to rent it. So there could be some that end up being rentals that weren't even rentals before, and some
That's a fair point.
that were rentals that continue to be rentals, because we get calls every day of people who are wanting to buy a rental property. They know it's wealth building. They've been listening to us and to everybody else saying, this is how you can build the most wealth, is through real estate.
I've in all the years I've been doing this, Tracy, in the last few years, this is the most I've ever seen people talking about real estate as an investment.
Right.
It's interesting.
I think we've moved the market.
There we go. That's it. Well, of course we did.
Yeah.
So, one last thing on that, I just wanted to say that we were talking about new construction and some of the trends there. One trend that is coming to Albuquerque that hasn't quite hit yet, but it is coming, and it's the build-to-rent single-family home trend. And if you haven't heard about this is happening all over the country. I saw a stat. What was it?
You saw a stat?
I know. Can you believe that?
Unbelievable.
I know. I saw a stat, and I actually paid attention to it.
Build to rent. So they're building many homes, like a neighborhood,
Correct.
and they don't intend to sell them, they intend to rent them.
Correct.
Right. I'm just being really clear because that's a new concept for our listeners.
It is. Instead of a apartment, development, and they're, doing multi-unit that way, what they're doing is they're just building a bunch of single-family homes, standalone single-family homes, and turning them directly into rental properties. It's a big trend. It's happening all over the country. There's literally billions, multi-billions of dollars being poured into that around the country. I know it's huge in markets like Orlando, Texas, Florida markets, California. Well, California, not so much just because they're high priced. Phoenix. And I've talked to a few people that are in the know in the Albuquerque area, and it's coming. It's coming to Albuquerque.
Right. So switching gears real quick.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the end of our time on the radio here today. I want to tell everyone, the coming soon homes, Eddie said Tracy's going to talk about coming soon properties and open houses and things. We have coming soon homes. We have properties in the pipeline. We have open houses scheduled. Best thing is to get on our website at welcomehomeabq.com. Tego has taken everything from the multiple listing service and made a tab there so you can conveniently go from your computer, from your phone, from wherever that you get your services, and find open houses and coming soon properties.
As well as just listed in real time. So as new homes hit the market, through the local Albuquerque MLS multiple listing service, there's a feed right there on the homepage, new listings as they come into market. And in this market, kind of got to do that.
We have a couple interesting ones. I can't give full details yet because of being fair to everybody. But we have some small multifamily. We have different parts of town. We have one coming in the near North Valley, probably a condo downtown. We have a couple different things that are in the hopper. So if you're looking for something, give us a ring at 448-8888. We'd be happy to connect you to one of our home buying specialists who can kind of be that bird dog for you, get the inside line on stuff. And if you're thinking of selling, we've got a couple of great agents that work with us, whether it's us or them, that can meet with you and talk with you about getting your home ready to sell and maximizing it and putting our program to work for you.
Yeah, I think it's important to recognize, there's 4,000 real estate agents in the Albuquerque area, and, we're all, for the most part, independent. Now, we're a unique situation because we're a team of 30. We all work together, and, we have a huge budget for marketing, which honestly a lot of real estate agents don't have. And not everybody does everything the same way, right? In this current market condition, every home's going to sell, right? I mean, homes are selling.
Everyone,
most
of
part.
them. There's a few that are out there that aren't selling for various reasons.
But the point is, are you getting the service that your home deserves? Are you maximizing the value? Are you maximizing the equity that you're taking? And I was going to say extracting. That sounds a little too mechanical, but basically, are you getting as much as you can? Are you getting the highest and best price? Are you putting the best marketing out there? Are you creating the bidding war? Are you creating the buzz around your home? And that stuff matters. It makes a difference.
So we use our launch program, and so we'd be happy to talk with you about that program and how it works to help you maximize. When you sell, Tego, we don't talk about it a lot. Over 500 properties a year. Mm-hmm. You kind of know the ins and outs of it and what makes a difference. So we put that to work for you.
We've got all the bruises and scars that come along with being that busy, which is great. No, and we have a great team and they do a great job, and so we're blessed. Yeah.
So that's it, right?
Yeah,
Thank you for joining us today. We're happy to always be here on Saturdays and sharing real estate with you.
What did I say? Show 400? No, 397. And it's Albuquerque Real Estate Talk. We're the Venturi Realty Group with Keller Williams Realty. And you can reach us at 505-448-8888 or welcome home, abq.com.